All right, I will call the Board of Selectmen to order for Tuesday, May 5th, 2020. I'm going to ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of
the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do we have any adjustments to the agenda?
I don't.
Jim, any adjustments? No? Okay, there being none, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Perfect. A few announcements for this evening. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Ayer Board of Selectmen is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort has been made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided in the order. There are call-in instructions on the bottom of the screen and on the town's website. And I do want to add that Ms. Antonellis has muted all participants at this point in time other than Selectman Livingston. If you need to speak, please unmute yourself, but I do ask that unless you are speaking to please keep yourself muted. Thank you. Other announcements we have this evening. The Board of Selectmen recognizes Ayer's drinking water infrastructure and staff there when you need it during Drinking Water Week. Drinking Water Week is May 3rd through 9th this year. Our tap water plays a vital role in keeping each of us healthy and safe during the coronavirus pandemic, and it is important to recognize the critical role that water infrastructure plays every day in ensuring our tap water is there when you need it for drinking, cooking, or hygiene. Thank you to Ayer's dedicated water operators, Greg, Rick, Scott, Ryan, and Tim. There will be a public listening session relating to Ayer's municipal vulnerability preparedness on Thursday, May 7th, 2020, from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. This meeting will be held on Zoom. For call-in information, please visit the town's website. Per Governor Baker, in an effort to reduce the spread of COVID-19 effective Wednesday, May 6th, any person over the age of 2 who is in a public open to the public in Massachusetts, whether indoor or outdoor, and is unable to maintain social distancing of 6 feet, is required to cover their mouth and nose with a mask or cloth face covering, except if the person is unable to do so due to medical conditions. This requirement applies to all workers and customers of businesses and other organizations open to the public, such as grocery stores and pharmacies. Violation of this order may result in a civil fine up to $300. For more information, please visit mass.gov/coveryourface. Also, in accordance with Governor Baker's orders, all residents should wear masks while on town property, including the transfer station. Sandy Pond Beach will be closed to at least June 12th. The Parks Department has started the process of writing policy for when it is deemed safe to open, and whether this will include limited hours and/or accessibilities to the beach and park, and limiting the number of people in the beach or park at any one time. And finally, stay home, stay safe, vote by mail. Apply for an absentee ballot or an early voting by mail ballot for the special state election and town election to be held on Tuesday, June 2nd, 2020. You can also request an absentee ballot for all elections in 2020. Visit the town clerk's webpage at www.ayer.ma.us/town-clerk. The town's clerk office is also available at 978-772-8215 for more information. You need to complete the application with a signature to receive an absentee ballot. Please contact the town clerk's office at 978-772-8215 or clerk at ayer.ma.us with any questions. That was quite the announcement this evening. Okay, we at 6:05 yet? Oh, perfect.
Public input.
Oh, sorry, public input first. Is there anyone on the phone with public input for this evening? Thank you, Carla. I missed that.
Hello?
Here we go, Craig.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Would you like to have public?
My name
Hello?
is Joseph Michaud, and I'm here in on behalf of the Marshall Street proposal to put Verizon utility poles up on Marshall Street.
Okay, Mr. Michaud, we're just about to open the public meeting. Can we come back to you really as soon as we
Certainly.
open the meeting?
Yep.
Okay. Is there anyone else with public input not related to the poll petitions for this evening? No? Okay. Sean, would you like to open the first public hearing?
The Ayer Board of Selectmen will be conducting a public hearing on Tuesday, May 5th, 2020 at 6 p.m. at the Ayer Town Hall, first floor meeting room, 1 Main Street, Ayer, Massachusetts, 01432. You are able to participate remotely. Please see ayer.ma.us for additional information. Regarding a petition by National Grid and Verizon New England Incorporated to locate permission to locate poles, wires, and fixtures, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures along and across the following public way. Marshall Street, National Grid to install 2 JO poles on Marshall Street, beginning at a point approximately 0 feet southwest of the center line of the intersection of Harvard Road and continuing approximately 285 feet in a southwest direction. Install 2 JO poles 5-51 and 5-53, approximately 150 feet and 285 feet southwest from the intersection of Harvard Road, number 286-14797. The name of the applicant is National Grid and Verizon. The date of the public hearing is Tuesday, May 5th, 2020. The time of the public hearing is 6 p.m. Location of the public hearing, first floor meeting room, Ayer Town Hall, 1 Main Street, Ayer, Mass. 01432. Copies of the application are available at the Ayer Board of Selectmen's office Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., Tuesdays from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Fridays 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can also obtain a copy by emailing atm@ayer.ma.us.
All right. Thank you, Sean. So I do see we have Javier Morales from National Grid is on the meeting this evening. Actually, I'd like to go back to Mr. Rashad. Do you want to share any concerns you have with the petition?
Hello?
Hi, Mr. Rashad.
My concern is I went through this back in 1986. Proposal for putting poles on my side of Marshall Street. Back then, my dad and I, when we built this house here that I'm at 8 Marshall Street, he built 4 Marshall Street. He never wanted to put any poles on the street because he thinks they look pretty ugly. So we opted to pay for and put all of cables, utilities underground. So that's why you see no poles on Marshall Street at the moment. And my concern is if the property across the street now from my house at 8 Marshall Street is going to be improved with 2 buildings, I hear. And I propose that they should also put all the utilities underground rather than put poles there, just for the aesthetic appeal and for the fact that I spent the money to make it look good. That way you don't see any poles on the street. And that is my concern and wish for them to do the same thing, that put all the utilities underground.
All right, thank you, Mr. Michaud. Can I ask a question? Whose jurisdiction would that be in regards to putting the utilities underground? Would that fall under the building department?
So typically, as I understand it, they have the right to erect the poles with your permission. If the homeowner requests the infrastructure goes underground, then it's at the homeowner's.
And so it would have to be the development.
Right. Well, I'm sure Andrew could probably.
Mr. Morales from National Grid, are you on the phone?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, thank you. Could you, I guess, enlighten us on the nature of the request for the poles on Marshall Street?
I didn't hear most of what was said. Got a really staticky connection. Can you hear me? Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So I'll reiterate just so you understand why we're asking. So the gentleman who is at 8 Marshall Street was one of the original builders on the street. And at the time, they chose not to put poles in and do all the utilities underground. And he's asking that the development across the street, which we're assuming this is for from his comments, would or should actually look to put their utilities underground also. So can you give us a little bit of background on the request for this pole petition, please?
Yeah, our design philosophy is we try to aim for an overhead system whenever possible, just because of cost reasons and ease of repair when repairs are needed. Usually we reserve any underground utilities for housing developments that are zoned for that. In this particular case, I believe it's an overhead area. And we also try not to put an undue burden of cost on ourselves or their customers. This particular location, where the lots are further back from Harvard Road, it's not really possible to feed them underground as it is for the gentleman that mentioned his house, because he has road frontage on Harvard Road. So we did do the best we could on this design, and these houses will be fed underground from those pole locations, those proposed pole locations.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions? Janice, do you have any questions or comments?
Did the person who called in, is he satisfied with the answer?
Mr. Michaud, do you understand the reason why this whole petition has been brought forward?
Yes, I hear what he's saying. I got the same answer back in 1986, and I said I want them underground, so I paid for it to be underground. So the undue cost was my cost, and not to make the street not have poles on it. So now all of that's going to be for naught, because they're just going to put poles on the other side of the street now. That was my concern, that I thought aesthetically it would be appropriate to follow suit on that side of the street. I have my telephone line and the cable line, and those lines I dug all the way from Harvard Road all the way down to my house, which is a substantial distance. And in the meantime, I connected to my mom's house, which she's deceased now, but I still own that house at the first house, the second house, and the third house, and I'm at 8 Marshall Street. So it goes all the way down as far as the properties that are being proposed to be built on. So the distance, to me, whether you dig it, 100 feet or 500 feet, is just digging longer. But the point is, I wish, I don't know what they're going to do, but I wish that somebody would take into consideration that my stuff is all underground. It's true, my electric is in the back of my house because there was a pole there when my dad bought the place back in 1955. so my electrical connection is in the back of the house. But I actually, from that pole, I dug another trench from that pole into my house. So again, it's all the utilities from any pole to my house is all underground, whether it's in the back of the house or the front of the house. So I was just hoping that somebody would take into consideration that my appeal to do that. Obviously, if they decide to do whatever they're going to do, I can't put up, I can't realistically stop them from doing what they're going to do.
Yeah, Mr. I
can speak to that.
freely, but it is a public way, and the lots across the street have requested the poles, which is within their right to do so.
Yeah, I can speak to that a little further.
I'm sorry.
Is it okay if can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, Ms. Morales, can you
So, what Mr. Michaud is describing is basically the exact same thing that we're doing here. We apply all our policies to all our customers fairly and evenly, and we treat them all the same. Mr. Michaud mentioned that he trenched to an available pole and paid for that underground himself to a pole that was available to him. The developer in this case is also paying for his own underground to go from each of his houses to a pole. But because it's a public way, he's not allowed to dig and trench and install any of his equipment down the public way. So we're required to bring the poles to his location, exactly like we did to Mr. Michaud.
all right.
So
This is my son,
this is James Michaud. I'm Joseph's son.
co-owner.
Just one clarification on that. As far as I'm aware, while Marshall Street is a street, it is technically a private way, not a public way. Now, maybe there's some subtleties with that, but it is a private way, not a public way.
Yeah, it turns out that the developer at this location is the actual owner of the street. And it's also a public way. When we did our research, it turned out that it wasn't exactly clear, but it is a public way. That's why we put the petition forward. But we're also getting an easement from the developer because, like I said, under both circumstances, it showed that he was the owner of the road.
All right, so in light of those comments, I think we need a little further information on ownership of Marshall Street, whether it's a public way or not.
I think I'm fair enough to. I know enough of the history, and I would agree with the person from National Grid that the person who does own the lot does own a significant portion of Marshall Street, if not all of it. So where those poles are, he does physically own. But that's why I thought it was a private way, not a public way.
Okay, so if they do own the land that they're requesting the poles on, they have that right to have the poles installed.
Yeah,
That is absolutely correct.
just like I dug the trench on my side of the street on my land, same way.
This was just a request.
Okay, no, I appreciate your input on this. My understanding is if it's the pole petition for the individuals owning the lands that Marshall Street sits on to have the poles on their land, I would be up to grant them that right. I apologize, gentlemen. I understand your passion for the aesthetics, but the landowner does have rights.
And Selectman
I
Hood,
absolutely,
Oh, sorry, I see Mark Wetzel, our DPW superintendent, chiming in.
yes. So we did a little research on whether it was an accepted street, and in the town clerk's records, it states that it is an accepted street, but we couldn't find a lot of data on when it was accepted and how it was accepted. So, but it is listed in town records as an accepted street.
Okay. Well, so my interpretation, so from what we've heard is if it's an accepted way, it should be a public access road, correct? Or the other end of the spectrum is if the two lots are owned by, or the person who owns the two lots owns the majority of Marshall Street itself, including where the poles are going to be put in, then they have that right to do that. But from a legality perspective, should we confirm that before the poles actually are approved and go up? Is there any?
Mark,
I believe that National Grid, and I'm not sure if the property owner has also, but when I talked to Mr. Morales about the poll petition, I know that National Grid had done a lot of research on the property bounds and the locations and the ownership.
Yeah, could I chime in? Yeah, my legal department did research. Sorry. My legal department did research this quite a bit, and everything we could find pointed towards it being a privately owned road. But as a precaution, they wanted to actually, in addition, have a petition approval. And I guess this really was more of a courtesy petition than anything.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thoughts, comments, questions? Janice, you have any questions or comments?
No, I mean, I guess that if they come up and it was a private way and this was a courteous, then we should be thankful that they even brought it to us.
I agree. I think in either situation, they have the right for the polls. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the petition?
I will make a motion to approve National Grid's petition for the pole placements on Marshall Street.
Seconded.
All those, so I think with Janice remote, I want to roll call the vote if that's okay.
That's fine.
Okay, so roll call the vote. Selectman Livingston.
Yes.
Selectman Copeland. And the chair says aye. It's approved 3-0. Thank you very much. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for the poll petition for Marshall Street.
Seconded.
All those in favor, Selectman Livingston,
Aye.
Selectman Copeland,
Aye.
and the chair says aye. So the first public hearing is closed. Now we have a second public hearing.
The Ayer Board of Selectmen will be conducting a public hearing on Tuesday, May 5th, 2020 at 6:05 p.m. at the Ayer Town Hall, first floor meeting room, 1 Main Street, Ayer, Mass. 01432. You are able to participate remotely. Please see ayer.ma.us for additional information. Regarding the petition by National Grid and Verizon New England Incorporated to locate permission to locate poles, wires, and fixtures, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures along and across the following public way. Harvard Road, National Grid to install 2 JO poles on Harvard Road beginning at a point approximately 0 feet northeast of the central line of the intersection of the Ayer traffic rotary and continuing approximately 455 feet in a northwest direction. Install 2 JO poles, 5-5 and 5-589, approximately 450 feet northwest of the intersection with the Ayer traffic rotary, number 286-14797. Name of applicant, National Grid and Verizon. Date of public hearing, Tuesday, May 5th, 2020. Time of public hearing, 6:05 p.m. Location of public hearing, first floor meeting room, Ayer Town Hall, 1 Main Street, Ayer, Mass. 01432. Copies of the application are available at the Ayer Board of Selectmen's office Monday, Wednesday, and Thursdays from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., Tuesdays from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Fridays 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can also obtain a copy by emailing atm@ayer.ma.us.
Thank you, Selectman Copeland. Is there anyone on the phone or on the line for public comments regarding the poll petition for Harvard Road?
This is Javier from National Grid. It's part of the same petition
Okay.
to bring power into this development. We just had to separate them because they're on two different roads.
All right, understandable. Thank you.
Hi, I have one question. This is Michelle Calhoun. I'm at 9 Harvard Road. I'm here with my husband. On the lights that you plan to put on Harvard Road, I'm sorry, the poles you plan to put on Harvard Road, is there potential for traffic lights to go in there at some point?
Street lights.
Street lights.
Yes, any pole that we're attached to, any customer or town can request a traffic light a street light to be added to it.
Okay, I was just curious because of the traffic flow and the rate of speed of cars going through here and people
Yes, it's
passing
possible.
in a no passing zone and things like that.
Yes, it's possible.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Selectman Livingston, you have any questions or comments on this one?
No, I'm ready to make a motion if everyone else is.
I think we're all set on our end. Please go ahead.
All right. I make a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve the National Grid and Verizon application for the JO poles on Harvard Road, number 286-14797.
Roll call vote. Selectman Livingston.
Aye.
Selectman Copeland.
Aye.
Chair says aye. 3-0. It's unanimous. Thank you. Mr. Morales, thank you for your time this evening. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for the poll petition for Harvard Road.
Seconded.
Roll call vote. Selectman Livingston.
Aye.
Selectman Copeland.
Aye.
Chair says aye. They're closed. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you very much. Up next this evening, we have Alicia Hersey, Program Manager, Office of Community Development. Alicia, how are you this evening?
Good. How are you?
We're doing well, thank you. I'll turn it over to you.
The first thing we have up is just a subordination. This is a subordination for someone who's refinancing their house for a better rate. Are you getting feedback?
I'm getting a little bit of feedback.
Sorry. So they will have completed their loan with the town in 2023. There is only a balance of $2,638. And I recommend the loan to value ratio is 77.22%. And my recommendation is that you approve this subordination.
Okay. Any questions, Selectman Livingston, Selectman Copeland?
I have no questions.
Okay.
So,
To approve the lien subordination request for case number 06-316E.
seconded.
Selectman Livingston,
Aye.
Selectman Copeland?
Aye.
Chair says aye.
Okay, it's my second item. Okay. The grant, the budget and the grant extension. So we have been finishing up the FY18 CDBG grant, which included the Prospect and Oak Street infrastructure and a housing rehab component. We have had to put our housing rehab on hold. We hope to have that grant completed by the end of June, but unfortunately in the last 2 months, we had to put what we were doing on the housing rehab on hold. And so we're going to be going for another 6-month extension to finish off that grant. We only are spending another $40,000 on there or so. If there is any money left over, and we'll get back to you on this, I shouldn't be sidetracking. There is a possibility of moving some of that money to COVID-19 relief, but right now we first need to finish off the housing rehab that we're doing, and then we'll get back to you on that. Now, that grant has been in force since September of 2018, and we have just completed our administration money, which has been used to support the Office of Community Development and Town Hall for the last year and a half. And so I'm requesting that you approve the use of program income funds to support the Community Development Office. And we have another grant that we've applied for, which is the rehabilitation of the fire station. If that comes through, then there's administration money in that. The Community Development Office has been run mostly on grant administration money in the whole time that I've been here, and even for the 10, 15 years before my coming here. So do you have any questions on that?
Alicia, so I just want to make sure I'm understanding, because I did get it confused when I was reading it. So you're just asking us to approve you using the program income funds. So
Correct.
really, there's no monetary amount at the moment. You're just saying, just use it if you need to?
So it'll be running the office, my salary, and any costs for the office. And my salary is partly taken out of economic and development and partly taken out of community development. So this would be the community development section of my salary and the cost to run the community development office.
Okay.
And I didn't put together a monthly breakdown of that. I'm sorry, I think it's under 4,000 a month. I don't have it right off the top of my head.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Any other questions?
No.
None? Okay, I don't have any questions regarding the request.
All right. I'll make a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve the use of the program income funds to support the Office of Community Development as presented by Alicia.
I'll second. Roll call the vote. Selectman Livingston.
Aye.
Selectman Copeland.
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Thank you.
So the third memo that I bring forward to you is what the office is doing about the COVID-19 situation and the research that we're doing. We have, as you know, started Office of Housing, of Committee for Affordable Housing in the town. And that committee has been working on putting together a housing trust, which will be brought in front of town meeting in the fall. And one of the things that we had been talking about was working on subsidized rental assistance. Now, with what's happening right now, there's been a lot of work going on as to how we can help both our citizens and the economy. And this is just a very initial report on what's been happening in the last 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. As we get more information, we will bring it forward to you. One of the things that Janet Pravadakis, the chairman of the Ayer Affordable Housing Committee, and I, and actually Ken Martin, did was on April 22nd, we went to a meeting for put on by MHP on rental assistance in this time. And a lot of communities are looking to how they can help people in this time of need. The first thing we need to do is evaluate that. And that's what the Ayer Affordable Housing Committee and I have been doing and will continue to do. We hope to be able to report back to you on structure, needs, all that sort of thing. We just wanted to give you a quick breakdown of that we are working on this, we're aware of it, and we have some good ideas on it, but we really need to evaluate what the need is. And that evaluation is going to be something that's a moving target too, because one of the things that our initial conversations and our initial outreach is, there's a lot of subsidies being put out there right now, and there's a lot of ways for people to get help right up front. But that doesn't mean that they're going to last forever. So this might be something that has a longer range target on it. So we will keep you posted on that. Did you have any specific questions?
Any questions, Sean?
No.
Janice, any questions?
No.
Alicia, I don't have any questions, but we do welcome you back anytime that you do have an update for us. We'd be happy to hear from you and assist you in any way that we can.
Thank you. The one thing that we are going to try and do immediately is to get information out there to the public, put it on our website. We're working that up right now for this assistance that is available through both the state and the federal government. And we'll do videos and get people to understand where they can look for that information. But we'll be back to you in the next month, maybe even by the end of the month, to give you a new update on what's happening, because we'll need some input from you as to which direction you'd like us to go.
All right, perfect. We look forward to other information that you do have.
Okay, have a good evening.
You too, Alicia. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Okay. Is that before Superintendent?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I believe the Director of Community and Economic Development is on the platform. In the packet, which the public has as well, just briefly tied into the emergency rental assistance is his efforts regarding the local businesses, food pantries and so forth. So I don't know through the chair, very briefly, if you wanted to have Alan just speak to that.
Please. Alan, are you available on the line?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, and good evening, everyone. So, yes, and thank you, Robert. So, yes, through you, Mr. Chairman,
Please.
you're going to see we did submit an outline framework sheet for you all tonight, which is titled, our track ahead. So, just very quickly, we feel we've done some very good outreach in our community, and we are ready to launch a series of engagement platforms. So we can, the first step, we need to listen. We need to listen very closely to our small business community, our large corporate business community, our folks that are involved in food security. So after we do these listening sessions, we need to know what they're experiencing right now. We need to understand how we might be able, to be of support, understanding, of course, we have limited resources and we run a lean operation. And then, frankly, talking about this is going to be a long-term effort. I know right now the impact is very shocking, but we're all going to settle in because everyone agrees that as business reopens, everyone's going to be operating in a new way, in a way they haven't before. So we have to start understanding what the new normal is going to be for business operations. So 4 categories in front of you. We have formulated and produced a local business survey. Cindy Knox, our IT director, and myself, we worked on that yesterday, and we think we're going to be launching that online tomorrow, Wednesday morning. It's a good survey for both small business and the large business community. And just so we can start understanding again, getting direct content from them as to what they're experiencing. Number 2, we're launching a series of local small business and large business Zoom forums. These are listening sessions, and actually our first one is scheduled for tomorrow at 11 a.m., and that is going to be the small business session, Zoom forum. And we have 10 plus businesses participating with us tomorrow. They're all very appreciative. And again, it's not so much, it's about, what they're experiencing now, if they have gotten assistance, how that process went for them. And again, how we can in any way support and assist them in getting whatever relief and assistance from the federal and state government, that is there. And number 3, most importantly, how we work together to help them operate under these new conditions with social distancing measures and how they're going to protect their staff, their customers and clients. So we'll be doing, again, the first one tomorrow. On Friday, we're looking like we might get the larger corporate for the Catania Oils of the world, Sawyer, our larger corporate entities. And then we're going to do one with our local banking and lending community. So we have those Zoom forums we're setting up right now. Number 3, food security. We have, and I think, Chairman Hood and Town Manager Pontbriand for, giving us the direction to do reach out to our partners at Loaves and Fishes, Patty Stern. So we have done reach out to them last week. I know they're very busy. They have transitioned now to a drive-through, a drive pickup operation there. So they're working through, but we know they do need support. So Patty and I are hopefully going to be speaking within the next 2 days. Again, I did my outreach to them last week. We know she's very busy, so I'm confident I'll be hearing back from her this week. And again, we want to just have a good remote session to make sure that we can understand how we in the municipality may support what they're doing for local food security. And finally, number 4, preparing for best practices for reopening. We have a lot of restaurants and eateries in Ayer. And as I've spoken with a lot of the restaurateurs, they're telling me, Alan, when we open, we have to operate in a completely different way. And they're still trying to figure and work that out. So we want to have a special Zoom forum just so they can exchange ideas, innovative practices, new concepts of how you can operate a restaurant going forward through the summer and into the fall and beyond. We also have a lot of hair salons, nail salons, and barber shops. And again, so we're going to do a special forum with them so they can, again, exchange information in their industry, talk about certain practices. How do you run a barber shop, now going forward with this? How do you run a nail salon? So again, we are feeling very good. We're going to get all this content, record all these sessions, document all the feedback we get, and then I'd like to present that to the Office of the Town Manager, to the Select Board, and then talk about how we can synthesize that into policy and programs going forward, and how, again, we can be of best support and assistance to our business community here in Ayer. This is not going to be a short-term quick thing. It's going to be a new way of doing business, we think, for probably the next year. So that's what we're doing, Mr. Chairman.
Awesome. Thank you, Alan. Appreciate all the extra work that you and Alicia put in working with Robert here and all the offices and other organizations locally. Selectman Copeland?
Yeah. Also, I'd just like to reiterate that, yes, thank you very much for working with businesses. I did have a question. If this document that's in here said it to public, something that was posted or sent out, there's just a clerical thing. The first form is listed here as being on Thursday and not tomorrow. I just want to make sure that.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Selectman Copeland. Yeah, the dates have bumped around from when I produced this last week, and that's because we're trying to coordinate with the businesses, and some of them as it ended up Wednesday ended up working better for Thursday. So yeah, these dates are bumping around a little, but we're going to make them all happen within the next week. Yeah.
Okay, so those who
Thank
are
you for asking that, Sean. I was going to ask. I was getting confused.
Those who are interested should check the town website or Facebook page for updated times for these.
Yep.
That would be fine. And right now we're doing these as they're invitational sessions. They're not public hearings, so they're more as we would have business meetings. We have to do it remote though, so we got to sort of keep it so it can be manageable and make sure we're listening to the businesses. And again, these things go very quickly. They're about 45 minutes. So when you have 10 business people, that time's consumed quickly. So we want to keep it very focused to those invitees in our business community.
Okay, my apologies for misspeaking earlier. Thank you, Alan.
Oh, no. Very good. Yes, sir.
All right. Anything else for Alan before we let him go? Selectman Livingston, anything else for Alan?
No. Good
No.
job.
Yeah, thank you, Alan. Have a great night.
Well, thank you all very much. Thank you.
Good night.
All Up next, we have Superintendent Mark Wetzel, Department of Public Works. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
So I only have a couple of items. The first is the outdoor water ban. Last summer, we had an outdoor water ban in place throughout the summer, primarily because we have the PFAS contamination, and to keep the levels as low as possible, we need to manage all of our supplies, which means turning off the wells that have the most contamination and running the wells that have the least contamination. We do have a temporary treatment at one of our wells, but unfortunately, it's a 700 gallon a minute well, or 1 million gallons a day capacity, but we have to run it at 200 gallons a minute. So we're running it at less than 50% capacity to be able to adequately treat it. So we have enough water for everybody, but we really have to manage the supplies, and so it doesn't make a lot of sense to have to pump an extra million gallons a day for people to water their lawns when we're trying to keep our PFAS levels low. So what I'm recommending is that we can continue the same outdoor water ban that we had last summer until we can get the Grove Pond treatment plant online. There is some good news. The treatment vessels were delivered and installed today, so we're moving forward. But they still have a lot of work. They've got to pipe everything up and connect all the electrical things. But the project is moving along, so we're anticipating that it would be in operation in late summer. But I would recommend that we continue the water ban. I put in the packet the wording, but basically operation of lawn sprinklers and irrigation is prohibited without a variance. So we do understand that people are planting new lawns and landscape, and we will grant variances. And outdoor water use with a handheld hose or a watering can is only permitted on odd even days between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. And then we do have, we issue a written warning for the first violation. The second violation is a $50 fine. The third violation is a $200 fine. And the fourth violation is a $300 fine.
All right, excellent. Any questions from the selectmen?
No question. I just want to remind, so a lot of people end up asking, why can't I use it? If I can use a hose, why can't I use my outdoor sprinkler? And the difference is you put on your sprinkler, you walk away from it, you tend to forget it. If you're using your hand hose, you're actually only watering what is needed and in the amount it's needed. And there is the difference. So, because people often ask that.
So Mark, can I ask you a personal question? If I have a vegetable garden, just for clarification, that I'm going to water every other day via a sprinkler in the morning, do I need to put in for a variance?
You're gonna water it with a sprinkler, so you turn it on, and then so you do need to have a variance for that.
Okay, thank you. Sean?
You're going to ask me a personal question.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I was just out watering my lawn with my handheld hose. So.
Any questions, Sean?
Actually, just kind of, how does this affect the Ayer community garden? Like, do they have a variance that applies to the entire thing, or does it their hours limit? Or?
So they don't use a lot of water when you consider how much water some of these sprinkler systems use. So right now they just have a water tank on site that they fill watering cans and water their vegetables that way. We are once we get our staffing a little more under control, we will be putting in a watering station for them. But again, it's filling watering cans or hoses, and so they're basically following the guidelines.
That's it.
Okay. No, thank you. Any other questions, Selectman Livingston?
No.
No. Okay. I'll make a motion to Put into place a mandatory outdoor water ban as presented by the Department of Public Works.
Seconded.
Roll call vote. Selectman Livingston.
Aye.
Selectman Copeland.
Aye.
Chair says aye. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. So the next item is acceptance of a donation from Mrs. Mary Metzger, who lives on East Street. It's kind of appropriate that this is on here because it's right around the corner from the Marshall Street property that we were just talking about, where she lives. And she, we chat occasionally about the Grove Pond, what we call Pulpit Rock, which is where the little bridge is that goes across from the end of 3rd and Marshall Street over to Barnum Road and the community garden. And she lives there and notices the wildlife and the invasive species or the damage to the area. And so she had sent me a letter asking if we could fix some of the drainage problems, because she noticed there was a lot of erosion running into the pond in that area. And she included a $500 donation to help with any of the work that we would do. So I talked to her about possibility of putting in a rain garden and putting in some cleaning up the area, making it more of a path instead of sort of, right now it's just kind of a dirt turnaround area, and just kind of cleaning it up. I think probably with a community garden there and with more people getting out and walking around, that it's getting a lot more use. I know a lot of people fish down there. So we're going to work up a plan to clean up the area and really make it a nice sort of a pleasant area to walk in. And also the developer, Mr. Schimmel, who was the poll petition for Marshall Street, his project there, I asked him if he would help with doing some of the work there, and he agreed also. So it'll be a pretty fun project to get the community involved in cleaning that up and making it a nice area. So I'm requesting that the selectmen accept the donation by the Metzgers to assist in this project, and it's a $500 donation.
All right. Well, on behalf of the Board of Selectmen, I'd like to thank the Metzgers for their very generous donation. Any questions or comments from the other selectmen? Okay. Do I have a motion to accept?
You can make a motion to accept the gift from the Metzger family, the amount of $500 for the Pulpit Rock Improvement Plan.
Seconded.
Selectman Livingston.
Aye.
Selectman Copeland.
Aye.
Chair says aye.
And then I just wanted to mention, I put in my memo for the packet just sort of an update on some projects. I don't want to get into a lot of detail on any of those, but if you do have any questions or I can give more detail on those. But we are proceeding with getting a lot of projects done in town. We have our contractors are following the state guidance for construction projects. But we do have a lot of things going on, and if you drive around town, you can see. And then the only other item I see that Lori Sable is on the call, and this may just be maybe not a non-issue, but we are submitting for a recycling grant, and one of the conditions is that we continue the townwide municipal recycling policy, and I think Robert and Carly had taken on that. I don't know, Robert, if the selectmen need to have any action on that.
Through the chair, because the Board of Selectmen previously have approved the policy and the policy is in place, we will just reissue it, so the board doesn't have to take another vote.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the issues that's changed this year is that the schools also have to adopt the policy. So I talked to Ms. Sable about that today, and we're going to work with the school superintendent and the school committee to make sure that they're implementing the policy. It's a pretty comprehensive recycling policy for the community.
Nice.
Excellent. Thank you.
Can I add something? This is Laurie.
Hi, Lori. Please
Hi,
go
Lori.
ahead.
My camera on my computer is broken, but I'm here. Mark mentioned the policy. There are two aspects of this. One is the buy recycled policy, which I know you've seen, and that encourages all town departments to buy as much material that includes recycled content in it. The other aspect of that policy is that in order to apply for these grants, and we've applied and received these grants every year for several years, and have received somewhere between $5,000 and $7,000 a year. That's a really rough estimate on my part, but there's a requirement that all municipal buildings have to certify that they recycle paper, cardboard, bottles, and cans. And I don't know if that's going on in all town buildings, but it's in order to continue to apply for these grants, we have to certify that that's happening. And as Mark mentioned, a new piece of that is that the schools, and this is not all of the district, this would be just the schools in the town of Ayer, also will have to certify that they recycle those same kinds of items starting next year.
Yeah, I think that Carly had sent out a request to all the department heads to verify or to certify. And I know since the DPW picks up a lot of the trash and recycling in the town buildings, that I know the DPW, town hall, police station, fire station, and library all do recycle. So I'm not sure about if there's other buildings, but I know that based on our experience that it is practiced pretty regularly at their community buildings.
So that would include all of the municipal buildings you said, police station, fire station, town hall, DPW. I don't know what other buildings would be included within that umbrella.
Library, would that include something like the building on the Seam Pond? Or?
The count, Mr. Chair, probably the library, which I believe does the count.
Yeah.
So through the chair, Laurie, I'll work with you to verify that. I know you have to verify it.
Yeah.
Appropriate document, just to certify that process. And then, of course, I know you and Mark are going to work with the school committee to adopt the policy. If there's anything we can do to help with that effort, we will as well.
We're going to try. Great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mark, anything else?
No, that's it for now.
Okay. Just to the selectmen, any questions for Mark before we let him go?
No.
All right. Thanks very much, Mark, for your time tonight. Have a good night.
Yep,
Good night, Mark.
All right. Up next, we have recommendation to extend tax deadlines and forgiveness of interest and penalties in accordance with Chapter 53, Section 10-2 of the Acts of 2020. I will turn it over to you, Robert.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Board of Selectmen, and I believe the Treasurer Tax Collector, Ms. Tierney, is on the call as well. What you have in your packet, as the Chair mentioned, is a recommendation that was put together in consultation with the town's Treasurer, Tax Collector, Assessing Administrator, and Finance Manager. And as a result of COVID-19, as the Board is aware, the Acts of 2020 provide various provisions designed to do two things: to provide some level of relief due to this unprecedented situation, as well as some additional tools for municipalities as well. The memo and recommendation we're talking about is specifically for Chapter 53 of the Acts of 2020, Sections 10 through 12. And in the memo, there are three recommendations that we're asking the Board of Selectmen to vote. All of these provisions require authorization by the Board of Selectmen. So the first one will be to authorize the extension of the tax deadline for real estate and personal from May 1st, moving that to June 1st. The second is to authorize the extension of the deadline for applications for exemptions of taxes from, which would have originally been April 1st to June 1st. And many of these exemptions are through the assessor's office, whether it's a veteran's exemption, exemption for the blind, various statutory exemptions extending that deadline. And then the last, number 3, is to authorize the treasurer tax collector to waive the payment of interest and other penalty in the event of a late payment of any excise tax, betterment assessment or apportionment, water rate, annual sewer use, or other charge added to a tax for any payments with a due date on or after March 10th, and that this waiver may only be given if payment is made after its due date, but before June 30th. And just for the board's benefit, if the board votes to adopt this recommendation, which we strongly encourage, that applies to everybody. So it's a universal application, it's not on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. Both residential and business?
Yes.
So, I just have a question. In the, this legislation that authorized this, my only question or concern is that, so if people aren't able to make payments due to financial hardships prior to June 30th, is there any provisions in there that they would be able to, or is it stuck to that date?
So through the chair to Selectman Copeland, at this time, and why we're recommending it, so the Acts of 2020, specifically Chapter 53, this is the extent, if you will, at this time of that relief. As you can probably imagine, the state legislature with constant input from the town and so forth are constantly looking at these issues about other relief. What we would say at this point, so to answer your question, there is not additional provisions at this time. However, as we've always maintained, especially Ms. Tierney, the treasurer tax collector, on the call, is that if people are getting into difficulty, the first step is to contact her, the treasurer tax collector. Now, she is confined within the parameters of the state law as to what she can and cannot do, whether it's a payment plan. She can waive up to a very small amount of interest. But the point is, we are in the business of working with people to solve these problems. And we anticipate there will probably be additional relief measures as this moves on that the state legislature takes up, which will require the board's consideration. So it's a good question. So I think the takeaway is that if folks are running into hardships, don't be shy. It's all confidential. Contact Barbara, the treasurer tax collector, and we'll see what we can do to work together. Again, the full disclaimer is, of course, she's set within the parameters of the law, but I think the town should be very proud. We have a history of, again, working with people and other resources to solve hardships. But this here, I think we believe is a good step for the town and for the townspeople moving forward. And Mr. Chairman, if there's not objection, and not to put her on the spot, I know that the treasurer tax collector, Ms. Tierney, is on the call. I don't know if she wanted to add anything.
She's welcome to add anything,
Thank
Barbara?
you, Robert. Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so I just wanted to reiterate what Robert said. Even under normal circumstances, if someone has any sort of financial distress, I always encourage them to contact me so we can keep them on board enough so that it doesn't get too far gone. We are accepting payments through June 30th at this time as allowed by law, and I will do whatever I can to help the residents, small business owners, and large business owners of the town.
All right, excellent, thank you. Any other questions? Selectman Livingston, you have any questions?
No questions.
We
Oh,
need to-
one question. Should they be three separate motions or can the motion be all done all together?
We're all just going to ask that same question.
I would, Mr. Chairman, I
Please.
would recommend that the board take a vote on each of them, each of those three of them, a motion and a vote.
I agree with that because they are accepted individually. So I'd say three separate.
Okay. All right. I'll make a motion. The Board of Selectmen authorize the extension of the tax deadline for real estate and personal property taxes from May 1st, 2020 to June 1st, 2020.
I'll second that.
All right. I'll roll call the vote. Selectman Livingston,
Aye.
Selectman Copeland,
Aye.
and the chair says aye. First motion is accepted.
Make a motion that the Board of Selectmen authorize the extension of the deadline for applications for exemptions of taxes to April 1st, 2020 to June 1st, 2020.
Seconded.
All right. Roll call the vote. Selectman Livingston,
Aye.
Selectman Copeland,
Aye.
chair says aye.
And then I'll make a motion to
Yes.
authorize the treasurer tax collector to waive the payment of interest and other penalty in the event of late payment of any excise tax, betterment assessment or appropriament, water rate, annual sewer use, or other charge added to a tax for any payments with a due date on or after March 10th, 2020, and that this waiver may only be given if payment is made after its due date but before June 30th, 2020.
I'll second that. Selectman Livingston,
Aye.
Selectman Copeland,
Aye.
chair says aye. All three are accepted and approved.
Great.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your time tonight, Barbara.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you. Up next is the town manager's report, and with that, I will turn it over to Robert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Board of Selectmen, good evening. Just briefly, under the administrative update, you have in your packet all of the town warrants that were reviewed, approved, and signed since the Board of Selectmen last met on April 21st. I want to just highlight a couple of administrative matters before we get into COVID-19 matters. Since the board last met on April 21st, we conducted a conference call with our bond folks. That would be the finance manager, Mr. Bree, Ms. Tierney, the treasurer tax collector, and myself. We'll be coming to the board to your meeting on May 19th for an approval of a ban, a borrow authorization. A note, we'll be in good shape for that. Despite the current COVID-19 situation, the conditions still look favorable for this ban. And on that call, we also learned at this time that the town remains from their perspective, in a very strong fiscal position. And we'll have more on that on May 19th for the board. We also did a remote meeting this morning regarding the ClearGov digital budget book product that we talked about right before COVID-19 had started. It was a positive initial meeting to begin to get that platform set up. We'll be talking with the buy board about that. And then as we develop that, we'll be coming back to the Board of Selectmen to get your input as well. And our goal is to have that launched for July 1st, which was our original goal on that. I just want to mention that the buy board is going to meet on May 14th remotely to talk about several things. Some of those items will then come to the Board of Selectmen on May 19th. Specifically, we're going to talk about overall finances in the COVID-19 world, if you will. We're going to be talking with the buy board to get their input, and then to the Board of Selectmen about our plan and recommendation regarding the FY21 budget and the town meeting financial articles for town meeting on June 15th. And we're also going to be reviewing the draft of this year's budget book, which will be the last year that we do the traditional budget book before we go to the clear cut. So we'll have, we've been actively working on a lot of the town's financial aspects in this COVID-19 world, which I'll touch upon briefly into the COVID part of the report. Town meeting, I just want to mention that the town meeting warrants have been posted, printed, and mailed to all of the households. In the event that, just a little public announcement, if somebody did not receive one in the mail, it is available on the town's website. And we also do have hard copies at the town hall, and though the town hall is closed to the public right now, using the Dropbox, we can make arrangements if somebody needs a hard copy with respect to that. So that's sort of just some administrative items on the administrative update. My second item on the coronavirus COVID-19 preparedness update, I again want to publicly thank all of our personnel, air, fire, and EMT, police, dispatch, Department of Public Works, Town Hall, Library, Council on Aging, and of course all of our teachers as well with the district as we continue to go through this pandemic. Everybody has risen to the occasion and has been extremely professional. And I think we've been very effective in providing services to the community, as well as maintaining the operations of the municipal government under these unique circumstances. The public safety departments continue their ongoing quest, as every public safety department, I think, in the country is, on personal protective equipment, PPE, whether it's masks, gloves, N95 masks, you name it. So we still continue on our quest for PPE. There never seems to be enough of it, if you will. Additionally, as the board is aware, in response to COVID-19 on April 24th, I issued a townwide spending policy to all departments. This was designed to do three things. The first thing was to get folks thinking about spending, because we are going to have to make adjustments. Also to begin to reduce spending, so expenditures over $1,000 require additional layers of approval. And thirdly, to also get folks in departments thinking about, in the event that we are unable to get the town meeting budget passed, that we can't have town meeting until July 1st, which I'll talk about in a minute. This is sort of our first step on a spending policy. I anticipate additional measures coming forward on that. In terms of COVID-19, with respect to some major dates that are coming up. So the June 2nd is the town election, and the annual town election, the special state election. Myself, my office, the town clerk, and the facilities department, as of right now, that election is scheduled to take place. This is the polling place. We are in the process of putting together the plan, which the board will be updated on, and the public will be notified in advance, because we're going to need the public's cooperation to make this a successful and safe election, implementing the principles of social distancing and so forth. We will have the appropriate plan is under development to make that election successful on June 2nd. The next major benchmark that we've been working on is obviously the town meeting is scheduled for June 15th at the auditorium of the high school. As of right now, that's still the case for it to be scheduled. People have asked what happens if the situation does not warrant the 15th to happen. As I mentioned before, under the statute, and the board is aware, that the moderator would declare that an emergency still exists, and he has to select a date and time certain, so a specific day and specific time within 30 days of June 15th. So it's not open-ended. And then that's in consultation with the Board of Selectmen and the town clerk. We're not there yet. So what we're doing is we're in the process of developing the appropriate plan to make June 15th also safe and successful, looking to see what we need to do in terms of the principles of social distancing in the auditorium. The auditorium normally holds 500 people. Obviously, when you implement the practices of social distancing, that capacity becomes diminished. We're looking at a second, remote rooms that some towns have done, a second overflow with live feed and so forth. Again, the board will be updated on that, as will the public. We're going to have to look at the whole. This is a challenge. I've talked to some of my colleagues. I've talked with our town council that represents the majority of towns in the Commonwealth. We're not alone here. There's a lot of challenges to make the town meeting successful and safe in this COVID world that we are now in. We're also planning, and not to get into too much detail tonight, but as the board knows, the FY21 budget needs to be approved by the voters at town meeting prior to July 1st. In any given normal year, we would be having town meeting next week and what have you. The question has come, if we're not able to have town meeting before July 1st, what happens? Well, in the legislation that passed, the towns are allowed to now follow what cities have been able to do. When you don't have a approved budget by July 1st, you go into what's called a 1/12 budget. And what that is you operate the month of July based on the funding that was approved last July. So there's parameters and a challenge there. While you actively work to get the budget passed, in our case, it's an issue of having a meeting, everybody's. The other challenge is it's only for operating purposes. So all of the capital, if you will, or any capital has not been approved by a town meeting, can't move forward. Additionally, any of the increases for this contractual steps or so forth have not been approved by a town meeting. So those also don't go into effect until the budget passes, which creates the need to do retros and so forth. Not to get way into the weeds tonight, but I want to assure the Board of Selectmen that the internal finance team is just preparing for that scenario. We remain cautiously optimistic that we will be able to have a successful town meeting and have that budget passed before July 1st. If we don't, we will have a concrete plan moving forward, and we'll all work together to get through that piece as well. People have asked about the finances overall in COVID-19 and what is the plan moving forward and what are we going to do about it. So we're about 7 to 8 weeks into this, depending on how you look at it. And if you look at our current financial picture, because a lot of these things, as you know, will have delayed impacts and so forth. If you look at the current finances as of right now, we have not seen the impact that we will get. However, per the spending policy we implemented on April 21st and other measures, we do want to be proactive. I do want to stress we have a lot of good, strong reserves, which is a testament to the town. But ultimately, which will be the Board of Selectmen's leadership on this, is we want to use, if we have to use reserves, have a whole plan in place. I've asked the internal finance group, specifically the treasurer, tax collector, and the finance manager, and we'll have the details for this, to put together a revenue monitoring plan. So one of the concerns is with the revenues. So right now, the FY 2020 budget is basically till July 1st completely funded, if you will, and looking at it, almost all of the revenues for that budget are in place. Obviously, the challenge is on July 1st, we enter, assuming the budget passes, a new era. And a lot of the revenue projections, as you know, Mr. Chairman, are done in the late summer, early fall, as we begin to put together the budget. This is going to be new territory. There's no question that there will be interruptions and other impacts to those revenues. But today on May 5th, we don't know what those fully are. We have some idea. So we want to create a systematic collection of revenue and spending data that's already started from now through August, keeping the board and the FinCom updated so that when we get to the early fall, if the current trend continues, we will be able to make the necessary adjustments and so forth moving forward. Lastly, on that, when we meet with the buy board on May 14th, we do have some recommendations to the buy board, and ultimately those recommendations will be to the Board of Selectmen, and we'll be looking for the Finance Committee's input We do have some initial recommendations on some measures to be considered for the June 15th, town meeting. But I'd like to get all of that ironed out between now and with the buy board, and then on your meeting at the 19th, have a brief presentation on that. Finally, we anticipate, though the fall town meeting is generally not a lot of financial items, we do anticipate that this fall town meeting may be different in that sense, that there may need to be further adjustments. But we will work it one issue at a time moving forward on that. Lastly, the chairman mentioned earlier about the mask order that goes into effect tomorrow. Per the governor, want the board to know that if you look at the order, the enforcement agency is the Department of Public Health and or the local boards of health. So in Ayer's case, the enforcement agents for this will be the Neshoba Boards of Health. The Neshoba Boards of Health have sent advisory to all of the food establishments, including the grocery stores, not only in Ayer, but the 17 towns they have. They've also sent signage, the appropriate signage language, and so forth. They're going to be out there in full force, already have been. The focus, I think we can all agree, is awareness, education, and getting folks to comply. Police are aware, of course, if there are situations that occur that get contentious and so forth, our police have always been responsive. But our main goal, folks have asked that, tomorrow there are going to be people out there writing $300 tickets. The initial goal is to get everybody the information and the compliance. To the Neshoba Boards of Health credit as well, they've been able to outfit all of our food establishments, including the grocery stores, with masks. The challenge that we're working on now is getting more masks, if you will, for residents and so forth that don't have them. There just aren't masks on the town's website. There's some CDC guidance on that. Lastly, we will probably issue, as we have on occasion, a code red notification tomorrow, just reminding folks about the compliance issues on the mask. And we've started to do that with the town's various outlets. So I know there's a lot of information. I appreciate the time. If there are any questions from the board, I'd be happy to take them. One final thing. The governor's current order is till May 18th, so we're actively putting together a plan, definitely for a full return of all personnel to the town hall. Most of them have been working either staggered shifts or remotely, but trying to get on May 18th back to all staff here. I think we have to have a serious discussion. I'd like to with the board, regardless of what the governor does, about the issue of opening back up to the public right away on May 18th. I don't think it's in anybody's best interest, and that's based on what we know now. And the facilities department, the director has done a great job. We've begun to put together the plan for all town buildings. There are going to be changes. In other words, protective shielding at service counters and some other measures. But when we do say sort of the world we live in now, it's the way we've done business, some of these things are going to fundamentally change, but we'll keep you updated.
Sure, thank you. Selectman Livingston, do you have any questions?
No.
Thank you. All right.
So in terms of action items, the first one is sort of a reminder is on June 2nd, as I mentioned, as of right now, the election is scheduled here at the town hall. So the board is also scheduled to meet on June 2nd. So whether tonight or maybe by your meeting on the 19th, the board need to select an alternative to the Secretary of State as we go through from time to time. Doesn't want any public meetings in a polling place. So that was put there if the board wants to take any action tonight, but that's there.
So my thought on that, I know the closure is through the 18th. I'm personally thinking it's going to be extended. That's just my personal thought. But and if it gets extended, I think we would be clear to, because that would impact most likely impact the election.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see that on just the next meeting and see what the governor decides to do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, and Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm a little confused as to what you were just talking about, Scott.
So currently, so we're scheduled to meet on May 19th, which is currently the day after the lockdown. I hate saying lockdown, it sounds horrible.
Stay
but
at home order.
The
yeah.
stay-at-home order, thank you. However, if Governor Baker does extend that, it would most likely be beyond June 2nd, which would impact the election. So we would have to move the election, and the Board of Selectmen would be able to meet on that night as scheduled. So if we can see what happens in the next 2 weeks from a scheduling or from a stay-at-home order perspective, and see how that impacts the scheduling for the 19th.
Okay, I got it. For some reason, it got a little jumbled as it came across. So thank you.
Could have been me.
And Mr. Chairman, and to members of the board, to your point too, Mr. Chairman, in the event that the election does have to be moved, we have two pieces. One, we will need the Board of Selectmen, the clerk will be back, the Board of Selectmen to vote to move the local election, and then it will require legislative action regarding the state piece. The next item through the chair, I'd like to turn over to the Assistant Town Manager, Ms. Antonellis, who's been working on this, is the Air Gun and Sportsman Club change of officers, managers, and change of manager. You have a memo for her, but to the chair, I turn to Ms. Antonellis for the update.
Thank
Please.
you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Robert. So this has been before you twice already. There was some confusion on the part of the club about what forms they needed. Essentially, when they changed their manager, their officers weren't current. The Board of Selectmen has to vote on that before they can vote on the change of manager, because the new officers have to have the authority to change the manager. So I've been in contact at length with the ABCC. So what we're going to do tonight, obviously with your approval, is revote the change of manager, which we've already done twice.
Okay.
Second, the first thing we're going to do is change the officers. And I provided in your packet the list of officers.
All right.
They've already updated that with the Secretary of State's office. So we just need to do it. We'll do that first. I'm recommending that. And then we'll do the change of manager. But we don't have to do that because you've already approved it, but we're gonna just belts and suspenders approach.
There doesn't have to be there's like an approval process beyond us where we would have to wait from the approval of the officers.
No, it can all be done at once. And I triple checked that again this morning, so.
And the gentleman doesn't have to come back again.
No,
Or
I think they should do it.
I don't have any questions.
All right. Janice, do you have any questions?
No, I'm glad she cleared that up. I saw it and I was like, I felt like a sense of deja vu,
All right, so it would be.
It's like the never-ending nightmare we're in.
So first would be, I'll make a motion to approve the change of officers for the Air Gun and Sportsman Club. Do I need to read them? Or
Just say as presented.
as presented?
I'll second. Roll call the vote. Selectman Livingston.
Aye.
Selectman Copeland.
Aye.
Chair says aye, so the officers are approved. Do you have a motion for the manager? My iPad died, so battery died.
And Schwartz. I'm sorry, what was his name again?
Don Anders.
Yeah. So big motion to approve the change of manager for the Air Gun and Sportsman Club to Mr. Don Anderson.
I'll second. Roll call vote. Selectman Livingston.
Aye.
Selectman Copeland.
Aye.
Chair says aye. It's gonna be the last time, right?
I really hope so.
Thank you, and thanks for all the hard work on that.
Thanks.
And Mr. Chairman, just briefly, I'd also like to, through you, turn over to Ms. Antonellis, the general code bylaw update, as she was the point person on this project. So give sort of an update where we are with the general code bylaw.
Please.
Okay, thank you again. So we received the final draft back from General Code at the end of last week. What I've done, I've sent that to the Board of Selectmen, but I've sent it to all the department heads to make sure all the content is looking like what it should look like. I gave, we have a 2-week deadline on that. I know there's a map in there that needs to be switched out. There's a lot of back and forth. But I'm compiling all those comments, and then we'll give those back to General Code for the final draft. And this would still be teed up for the town meeting on June 15th. The planning board is having a public hearing on Tuesday, May 14th, because we're recodifying the zoning bylaw. They have to do a public hearing. So they're set to go on that for the 15th, and we've been working with the land use team just to make sure the zoning bylaw is all up to date. Encouraged, that was kind of the delay at the end. We wanted to make sure both form-based codes were included in the final document. And then Robert and I have been discussing doing outreach. I don't know how we're going to do, maybe a Zoom form on the bylaw change, which again, we're just taking what's existing now and recodifying it, reorganizing it. There's no major content change. It's simply laying it out in a more clear manner. General Code will then host that section of our website. So it's all chapter, and you can follow everything a lot more clearly. So it looks good. 566 pages. The bylaws and all the regulations as well. So again, once we get all that feedback from the department heads, then we'll definitely schedule like a Zoom forum just to do some outreach.
Great. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Carly. And then the last action item is a request to the Board of Selectmen for authorization of UDAG grant funds up to $15,000 for the Parks building. And Mr. Chairman, I believe the Parks and Rec Director, Mr. Thomas, is on the call. I'll just frame the issue. The Parks building at Prony Park is coming to completion, which is very exciting. And with the completion of that, unfortunately, there was an unforeseen issue regarding the electrical service to the building for the new building and the new electric service. And the additional cost for this, which involves the installation of some poles and so forth, came to $15,623.22 that they put in the packet. The project appropriation can cover this work. The issue is that after the electrical work is done, it has tapped into, if you will, part of the contingency. It leaves about a balance of about $4,000. We obviously, putting this investment in this building, want to also equip and furnish it appropriately. I'm not saying Taj Mahal or what have you, but the Parks Commission, and I'll let Jeff speak to this, when they met, are with doing the electrical work at $15,623, leaves about $4,000 remaining. They were requesting if the board would authorize up to $15,000 from UDAG funds to be replenished at a future town meeting, as we have done in the past on different projects. Current balance in the UDAG account is $1.7 million. And we feel that this is a fair request. We don't like to ever ask for more money or come back. This was an unforeseen electrical issue. It has to be done. It significantly reduces the money they were planning to use to properly equip and outfit the building. So that's the general request, if the board is willing to consider that. And through the chair, I know that Jeff has been on the call. You want to add?
Good evening, Jeff. How are you tonight?
Good, thanks. And Robert, thank you for summarizing that. It's pretty well spelled out exactly as you said. Just to add to that, some of the expenses that we foresee still needing to put into the building include IT work that has to be done to get hooked up, telephone service, a few other items like that. We had intended to put a mower lift, which is kind of like a car jack, but much smaller, just to be able to lift up small mowers and small tractors to be able to do repair works on those. And a few other furnishings and things like that. Like Robert said, we have no interest in trying to, turn this into some beautiful thing that's overspending, but we did anticipate the money left over in the budget would cover a lot of those things. We also aren't sure, the building's not finished yet, but we are hoping there won't be any more change orders required. But we've had 5 so far that have required, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 added to the work being done by the contractor. So we'd like to make sure we have a buffer for that too. The immediacy with it is that the National Grid, and not to pound on a utility or nothing, but they have, they've said that they need to line up the work about 4 or 5 weeks, and they won't even touch it until we give them a check. So we have to figure out a way to pay for this and come up with a decision relatively quickly before we can even get in the queue to get the work set up to be done. We've been very happy with the contractor. They've done a great job. They told us, back in the fall that, they would have the work, if everything went perfectly, they would have the work done by mid to late May, and they're right on schedule. So it's great, but it'd be a shame for them to be able to finish up. And then, we can't get in the building because we have no electricity till July. So that's where we stand right now with this. This just came up last week. It was a real kick in the teeth, frankly. But we were hoping that by getting UDAG funds, Lisa was recommended that might be the only option we'd have for other possible funding source. That might be an option. So we put it before the selectmen, and I hope that's something we can utilize. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. So just curiosity, how much do you anticipate all of the furniture and other items to kind of build out the interior of the building will end up costing? Because I know you said you have 4,000 left and you're asking for 15, plus a little bit of a buffer in case other items do come up as you're finishing up the work.
Right. Well, the furnishings is a part of it, but again, the IT costs, and that includes trying to get some video cameras for security. The mower lift, they would also have their own, $1,000, $2,000 cost to them. The furnishings, again, we may be able to utilize some stuff from the town hall office. I still have to talk with Robert and others about what they want to utilize that office for, and if they'd like to have that furniture remain there, the desks and the cabinets and everything else as part of that office, so that it can be moved into immediately for use. And obviously save us a little legwork trying to lug it over to the new building. So, those are things that we still have to work out. But I would anticipate overall about $10,000 would be my guess.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from the selectmen?
No.
No?
No, thank you.
Okay, no, it's as Sean just alluded to, it's a reasonable request, Jeff, thank you.
Motion. So I make a motion to accept the UDAG authorization for the amount of $15,000 for the Parks building.
Okay.
Seconded.
All right, roll call the vote, Selectman Livingston,
Aye.
Selectman Copeland.
Aye.
Chair says aye. All set, Jeff, thank you.
Okay,
Thanks,
well,
Jeff.
thank you very much and appreciate all you're doing. I know it's a tough time for everybody.
Yeah, we're happy you're getting
Hang in there.
Thanks, Jeff. All right.
Mr. Chairman, that completes my report. I thank you always for your time and the opportunity tonight. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, Carly, also for your input. Next item on the agenda is new business and selectmen's questions. Nothing was submitted ahead of time. Just want to make sure that there's still nothing to discuss. Excellent. And final item is approval of meeting minutes for March 17th, March 30th, and April 7th. I reviewed them. I didn't have any edits or changes.
I had nothing.
No? Okay. All right, I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of March 17th, March 30th, and April 7th, 2020 as presented.
Second.
All those in favor, roll call the vote. Sorry, Selectman Livingston,
Aye.
Selectman Copeland.
Aye.
Chair says aye. Minutes are approved. If there's nothing else this evening,
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. Roll call the vote. Selectman Livingston. I didn't hear that. Is that an actual aye?
Yes.
Excellent. Selectman Copeland?
Aye.
Chair says aye. We're adjourned. Thanks everyone for your time tonight and your patience as we work
Night,
through.
everyone.